Welcome to the MPG podcast. I am John Graybill, joined with professional race car driver
Jordan Missig. Pleasure to be back on the show, John. It's been quite a while since the last time we chatted.
Well, yes, we've been on hiatus, I guess you might say, or something like that. But you've been very busy, so there's a lot we need to catch up on.
Yeah, no, I've been busy. I think I've been gone for like the past 4 weeks here. So, yeah, I've been trying to find myself a travel home, I guess I could say, to go along the way. But, we got ourselves a nice RV to go with. But, yeah, it's keep a residency. It's very limited here in the area. So I'm happy to be back home, though, for about a week.
Just for a week. Okay, well, we've got you here. We've got you now. Catch us up on what's been happening since the last time we talked.
So I believe last time we spoke, we were getting ready for FR Americas up at Road America. That weekend went really well. It went pretty decent. Practice and everything, we were quickest for the most part. But once the racing aspect got to going, we unfortunately kind of fell off a little bit in pace, but was able to get a third place podium in the first race. And then unfortunately had some mishaps happen in race 2 that allowed me not to race in race 3. Unfortunately, I had a little mistake, which ended up crashing the car a little bit. But other than that, we then moved into the next series that I got involved with, which was the Lamborghini Super Trofeo series with Wayne Taylor Racing that I signed on with earlier this year. So I had my first race out at Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. Beautiful track. Where the F1, I wouldn't say now the only F1 track, because now F1 now has signed a race with Miami, so it's one of the F1 tracks we can now say that Formula One goes to in the United States. But yeah, had my first weekend out there, was just getting used to the car and everything, but started off was going to be an LB Cup, which was kind of like a beginner's class, or some would say a gentleman driver's class.
Yeah, so let's start there. First of all, Road America, I happen to be above Road America today, flying over. It's absolutely a gorgeous track. It's my favorite track to fly over. I mean, it's the colors and it's just fantastic. You take off to the south at Austin, and it's right there on your left. It's totally cool. However, catch us up a little bit on this 615 horsepower.
Yeah,
615 horsepower Lamborghini. Massive supercar that you're racing. There is how big is the total field?
So at COTA we had around 30 cars.
So 30 cars.
So yeah.
And it's broke up into four different classes or three?
Four different classes.
Four different classes. Okay. And initially they were going to have you in the, what did you call it, the LB class?
Yeah, LB Cup is what it's called.
Okay.
And it's kind of like your beginner/gentleman driver series. So you have a lot of guys who just come into the series or new to the series. They kind of start off in that in the beginner's part. Or if you're a gentleman driver, if you're paying a race, basically, that's kind of where your category is, unless you voluntarily, I think you want to move up, or if you proven success in LB Cup, they will then move you up to the next stage, which is the amateur series. Now, the amateur series kind of can be dictated between two drivers. A lot of people have been doing just single drivers, so they've been doing the races all by themselves, not having to do any driver changes, because there is a pit stop in these races. I want to say around 80 to 90 seconds, depending on the track and the pit delta, to where drivers can do driver swaps and have a co-driver, and then both those drivers do the race themselves. Or whereas what I'm doing for me personally is racing the full 50-minute race by myself. And you have a lot of amateur drivers who tend to do the whole 50-minute race by themselves. Then we move up into what you get into the professional stage of the Lamborghini series, and we start off with Pro-Am, which is kind of, as it states, a professional driver and an amateur driver as two drivers. Now you can get you can have the amateur driver start off or the pro driver start off, either or. At least one of those drivers have to start off for each race, which we can get into later. But from my standpoint, I'm kind of in the semi-pro series where we're just kind of like on the building stages of becoming a professional racer. I'm racing as myself, so I'm kind of in between the pro and the amateur driver. So therefore, I can kind of be classified in that class without being certified in the pro class, which obviously consists of either being one single pro driver or you can have two pro drivers working together to try to get the win.
I see. I see. Okay. Yeah. So I've watched all your races are available on YouTube. All these Lamborghini
Yep.
Trofeo races are on YouTube. So yeah, I've enjoyed watching the coverage is actually pretty good. It's pretty well done.
Yeah, no, it has been done really well. Brian Till, obviously, who's one of the lead commentators of the series, who commentates it on IMSA TV, which you can see it on their live, IMSA TV live, or watch it on YouTube as a recorded. And they come normally, I think, a day or two after the race. But then normally a week after, it's aired on television on NBCSN. So we get live television coverage to do that, which is awesome to have. But yeah, Brian Till, I know because he's been one of the chief stewards and like the chairman of the stewards at our FR America events. So he's kind of seen me come through the FR America stage and then move into this. So he was kind of the one, I think, one of the ones who influenced my decision to move up from LB Cup into Pro Am at Coda. So, you know, if he was the one, I got to give him a little insight on that one.
And Coda, that's where it rained and didn't rain, and then you were swapping tires and trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah, so a bunch of mixed conditions. I don't think we only did rain tires for qualifying. So it was sunny as can be for the both practice sessions. Rained in the qualifying sessions in the morning, and then the first race started off as a dry race, and then the race 2 started off in rain and then dried up as the race went on. But we had to start on slick tires because we didn't want to make the tire change. So we kind of had to just deal with the weather conditions and had to deal with all the adversity that was kind of thrown at us at the beginning of the race.
Wow. Yeah, and that race, I mean, your first time out turned out pretty well.
Yeah, no, it was just all about obviously learning as much as I can, completing all the laps, because obviously if you don't complete all the laps, you're not learning anything. So it was basically just, completing all laps, trying to get as much experience as I can, and do it with different conditions as well, as was basically the best thing I could have asked for. Got to practice in the dry, qualifying in the rain. Obviously, your first qualifying session has to be in rain. That's just how it goes, I guess. But, just to kind of get the experience of what the rain feels like with the traction control and the ABS with the car was interesting. And then having to do the same thing except with sticker slick tires instead of rain tires was interesting in itself. But we were able to manage it very well. I actually felt pretty quick in that nature. I've been very comfortable in the rain nonetheless. So I felt very comfortable in the stage and felt like I had a lot of pace to come with it. And I felt like it was going to grow as the race went on. But we had a couple of yellow incidents and safety cars that kind of prolonged the event. But, it just caused the track to dry up a little bit quicker and get up to speed a lot faster.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, and then from there you head back to Illinois, home base, for just a couple days, seems like, and then you were out again.
Yeah, came back for a couple days, stayed literally for one weekend to watch the Indy 500, and then I was back on the road to Virginia and VIR this past weekend. Once again competing with for the second round of the Lamborghini Super Trofeo Series. Yeah,
those races happen pretty quickly. So yeah, off to Virginia International Raceway, which is maybe 2 hours or so southwest of Richmond. Another awesome facility. How do you like that track?
That track, I feel like, suits my style a lot more than most other tracks I've been to. It's just a fast, thrilling, twisty track that I just seem to get grasped on very quickly. It's got a ton of runoff. Not saying I like to use that runoff every now and then, but it has a ton of runoff for the kind of track it is. But I feel like it's more that it has that country club-esque feel to it. It's one of those tracks that is not in a huge condensed city area or populated area. It's kind of out in the open in the middle of nowhere. It's got like a little bit of condos. It has a hotel there. It doesn't have like the huge grandstands that you see at like some of these other big well-named tracks. So it's kind of like that country club feeling that we have here at Audubon as well. So I feel like I kind of make myself at home when we go to VIR. Now, obviously the track layout and the track design isn't anywhere close to what it is like here at Audubon. It's a lot narrow, I want to say, and has a lot more technical corners and a lot of high-speed corners. But just the kind of feel of it, I feel like gives me the more kind of country club aspect type of feeling, which I think, from a person who drives here at a country club a lot, I feel like kind of fits and suits in well with my style.
Yeah. So how do you find jumping from one car to another car? I mean, obviously they're completely different. One's a sports car, supercar, and one's a formula car. So how do you find the difference between going back and forth? Is it difficult? Do you have to really regauge your brain and your hands and everything?
Very difficult. Yes, very difficult. Now, some people may say that the best and greatest drivers can hop from one car to another, no problem. From a learning perspective, it's difficult. I'll just tell you that. And especially when you're going from a 303 turbo horsepower open wheel car to a 615 naturally aspirated Lamborghini rear wheel horsepower. It's a huge difference. Obviously, you're dealing with more weight, double the weight basically, double the horsepower. So you're dealing with all of that, plus you do different tires and different components that you're dealing with. So it's interesting because I'm having to go from threshold braking with an open wheel car to having to just mash on the brake as hard as I can and work the ABS that the Lamborghini car provides. And when you're adding the throttle too, you're having to deal with the traction control system that the Lamborghini car offers versus, you have no traction control with your with the open wheel car. Basically, the traction control is your right foot. So, kind of dealing with those two applications are the huge aspects of going from car to car, and also dealing with the weight aspect as well. That's also a huge variable that you have to take into consideration when you're dealing with both these cars.
Wow. So if Jordan Missig were to race himself at COTA in a F3 or a Lamborghini, who would win?
It would be the F3. The F3 would win, although we found out that when the pro guys were in the Lamborghinis, they could give the F3 a run for its money. I think it's around a 1.5 to 2 second difference between the pro guy and the Lamborghini versus me and an F3. So it's very close. But the F3 still takes the cake when it comes to going through the S's and all the high-speed corners just because of how much downforce and all the wing and aerodynamics that the car performs and produces. So, that in alone of itself is going to take the cake out of a track like COTA, especially because it's 20 corners. And a lot of those corners are high-speed sweeper corners. Whereas Lamborghini, you got to slow down a lot more. But on the straightaways, the Lamborghini will take the cake all day long. I think we were getting up to around 175 miles an hour going into turn 12 in a Lamborghini.
Wow, that's awesome. And there's a total of 6 races, is that correct?
6 different venues on the calendar, yes.
So 12 races?
Yep, 12 race season. But only 5 of those events, I think, count towards the championship because the 6th event's overseas in Italy, which, is just kind of a... it all coming together for all of Lamborghini worldwide. It doesn't count, I don't think, towards the respective championships.
I see. Okay. And so the car that you drive each time, so they're spec cars, meaning that they're all identical. Do you always have to drive the same one?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm always driving the same car every week that I'm going to be racing. That's kind of my car for the year. Unless someone takes it for the next event at Watkins Glen here. If someone wants to go race with Wayne Taylor, that car would be theirs for that weekend if they wanted to do it with that car. But yeah, every car is the same. It's kind of like just any other spec series. Every car is the same. It just really comes down to driver skill. There are some adjustments that you can make with the cars, like it comes down to roll bars, ride heights with the rake. Obviously tire pressure, spring pack, the different pounds of springs that you want to put in the car. But that's really all the adjustments you can make with the car. Other than that, it comes down to driving style and how late you can be on the brakes and hard you can be on the brakes and how quick you can get back to throttle and fall confidently.
Interesting. So now you're back home base. Are you testing any practice sessions here coming up?
Yeah, was just actually in the F3 again earlier today. Just trying
Oh,
to get acclimated with that car again, understand the technique of threshold braking and the feel of the car. Because obviously you're dealing with two different cars. One's kind of dealing with like a power slide load when the Formula car, whereas in the Lamborghini you're dealing with all this weight, so you can feel the car load on a specific tire. Whereas in a Formula car, it's very hard to do that. You feel like the whole rear end in unison as one, whereas in a big car like a Lamborghini, it kind of throws you around a little bit more because it's a big heavy car that has a lot of inertia in it, and you could just feel the car rocking side to side. So you could just feel every single bump that comes in a Lamborghini, and it's hard to get the confidence in the car at first because you feel like this thing's about to spin out, but really it isn't.
oh, I understand. Yeah, yeah. And which has wider tires? I mean, I know those Lamborghinis have massively wide tires. Are they as wide as the F3?
Much wider. Yeah, they're much wider, much bigger. So the contact patch and the contact parameter that the tire gives, it has a little bit more of a slip angle to it than the F3 cars do. Their F3s are just much smaller tires, but yeah, in the width standpoint, they're very close to what the Lamborghini has to offer, but the Lamborghini is a much bigger tire.
Interesting. Okay. And getting in, what about the equipment? Are you still is the equipment the same? Do you have to have any additional equipment from one car to the other, or is it still the same helmet? Do you use a different helmet and different gloves and shoes?
Yeah, you can use all that. I mean, obviously, the only thing that's really different with doing Lamborghini Super Trofeo Series is Lamborghini does mandate that you have to have like a black Nomex, obviously socks, pants, and a shirt with Lamborghini stuff on it. And then they have their own fire suit that they want you to wear for the Lamborghini series. But the one additional thing that you need to do is probably invest in a cool suit because it gets hot in those cars. Especially Lamborghini did such a great job of not producing any airflow through the cars. So, we have the best way we could do it is probably put our hands out the window to try to get airflow to kind of cuff it to where you get air to flow inside the cockpits. But I bet that's something that they really wish they added to the cars when they were making the production. So that way we can have a bunch of airflow because it does get a little uncomfortable and it does get really hot in those cars, especially when you're pushing as hard as you can for about 50 minutes worth of racing.
Yeah, and a cool suit is like a shirt you wear that just pumps cold water through you. We keep cold water in a box or something, right? Is that right?
Yeah. So it's like it has a Nomex. It's a Nomex shirt that you put on top, but it has like little lines that go through the whole suit. And what it does is it has a machine that has these wires that go through your Nomex, and then it goes into a machine and you connect it, and it obviously comes out of your fire suit. You connect it to this machine, and what the machine does is it pumps cold water up through your suit, and then what the water does is then kind of saturates into your suit, so it kind of feels like cold water is being sprayed on top of you. And it's just as a refresher for you. It just refreshes your body, keeps your body temperature cool, and it keeps yourself cool through the whole hot air that is being produced inside the car.
Oh, outstanding! Yeah, that's cool. And so now, what's next on the list here? So it's a F3 race.
Yeah, racing F3 at Mid-Ohio. So right in Honda's hometown. Going to be racing right at Mid-Ohio.
Oh, very nice.
Lexington, Ohio is the city that we're going to.
Yeah, and when's that?
That's going to be at the end of the month. So June 23rd to the 27th, I believe, is the dates.
And same thing, double race weekend. In on triple race weekend.
Triple race weekend, yes.
Oh, wow. And is that Friday through Sunday or Saturday through Monday?
It's going to be back to normal schedule this time. So
Okay.
Friday through Sunday. We're back to our regularly scheduled programming. So Friday through Sunday, and it can be all found on the SVRA app or SVRA Life, I think, on YouTube if they posted it at the time.
Okay, outstanding. And can I mention the charity event that you're participating in this weekend?
Yes.
So
if any
that's
of you
very
have
cool
not
too.
noticed
Very
already,
cool.
Yeah, if anybody hasn't noticed already, I have posted a video on both my Instagram and my Facebook asking donations to donate to this charity event. It's a kart race that's happening here at Kart Circuit Audubon. That's happening on June 12th, which is Saturday, this Saturday, and it benefits DuPage Pads, the DuPage County area, of ending homelessness. It's a fundraiser that we like to do here at the Audubon Country Club. Joel Weinberger from Continental Racing, Continental Ferrari technically, puts on an outstanding job with the DuPage County and DuPage Pads to help raise money to end homelessness in the DuPage County area, because there's so many people in our area right now who just don't have a home and they need shelter to stay. So, this is a great opportunity to help people find a home, find a place to stay, or find a place to live, so they can live out the rest of our lives just like we do.
Yeah, so DuPage County is just slightly west of Chicago, and the fundraiser's been around for,
I want to say
5 years,
2000,
5-6 years.
Yeah, I know DuPage. I think DuPage Pads was around since 1996, if I'm correct. But the fundraiser that this has been going on for about the last 5 to 6 years, I think.
Yeah, for 4 years, I believe, at the Audubon. This will be the 4th or 5th year, but it's super fun. It goes to a great cause, tax deductible. You can head on over to just Google DuPage Pads, drive for 135, and then find your team. Team's name is
Team Dark Mode. Team Dark
Mode.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can go down to find Team Dark Mode, and then you'll find your name and the other team members that you have there. And so that's pretty cool that you take your time to get involved in that. And I know you're going to be preparing your team for the win.
Yeah. Yeah, and especially when an event like this is taking place in your backyard too. Basically, you have to get involved in it, no matter what the cause is. You just got to pitch in at least sometimes. So, and for a cause like this, especially too, how can you not? It's ending homelessness, and it's making people's lives much better and making them live out the lives of normal people like us. I'm not saying that those people aren't normal or anything, but it makes them feel much more appreciated that they have a part in this world just as much as we do.
Yeah, I mean, I think that goes through. I mean, I know you pretty well, and I get to hang out with you, and I know what kind of a person you are, and you have been giving of your time to young drivers and and people and old drivers sometimes,
Yep.
and also charities. So I just think that's great. You're not short of giving your time. That's for sure.
Sharing is caring, as the motto goes, I guess you could say.
Is there anything else that you want to mention that we haven't talked about yet?
Yes, follow my social media on JordanMysticRacing.com, Jordan Mystic Racing on Instagram or Facebook, Jordan M Racing on Twitter, and as well as you can catch up on all the races, like I said, on YouTube. You just got to Google either FR Americas or Lamborghini Super Trofeo. And I can't thank the guys at both Newman Walks Racing for the F3 program and Wayne Taylor Racing. Those guys put on a heck of a program over there in the Lamborghini Super Trofeos program. And I'm fortunate enough and happy to be a part of that team and get to hang out with not only the rest of the guys of the Wayne Taylor Racing program, but a little bit with Ricky Taylor as well, as he's one of the driver coaches there for the Wayne Taylor Racing program. So get to hang out with him a little bit, talk a lot of racing, talk about his events in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Series as well as the DPI as well. So it's fun to kind of interact with other racing drivers, especially at the professional level, that's for sure.
Oh, fantastic. And mention your sponsors if you don't mind.
Yeah, no, Audubon Country Club has been a huge sponsor for me, developing me through the whole Audubon racing program, and now the Audubon itself has came out with a new driver development program as well, where they're having a boatload of instructors, including myself, to bring kids through what it would be karting up through the ranks here at the Audubon development program to maybe get them ready to go race somewhere else around the country, wherever series it may be, or if it's someone who's an older gentleman like yourself, John, maybe, who wants to get faster in some of the chase races. We're here to help you and get you faster as well. So any person who's an Audubon Country Club member who wants to get faster, be at the front of the pack, who's tired of being mid-pack or even in the back, Audubon's the place to do it, and we have a wealthy list of instructors who are here and ready to take you guys driving skill to the next level.
Outstanding, Jordan. Thanks so much for being with us, and check out Jordan Missig Racing. Just Google Jordan Missig, and you can find all the updates there. And thanks so much for being on the show.
Awesome, John. Thank you as always. Pleasure to be back with you and talking again.
All right, thank you.